Hi everyone. Today we're going to have a practice that will help teach our spine to extend a little more thoroughly. This is really important for not just posture, although certainly that, but it's really beneficial for health in general. It will help your spine to resist the gravitational pull to just compress, to fold over. So we'll just begin with an awareness of the spinal extension, and we'll just gradually teach our bodies to do that in all of the standing poses. Now, to really affect spinal extension in standing poses, we actually have to start with the feet. We have to be able to really teach ourselves rootedness through the feet. So our practice will focus there as well. If you have yoga bricks, they could come in handy today. If you don't have yoga bricks, don't worry, we can certainly work around it. But grab those bricks if you do have them and keep them close. And when you're ready, let's all come into a comfortable seat. And just allow yourself a few breaths to arrive. Just feel yourself beginning to center. Remember, sometimes it helps just to put your hand on your own heart. Just come into your body. And then when you feel like you're there, you just start to focus on your breathing. So you're just lengthening and softening both inhales and exhales. And just for a couple of breaths, let's focus a little more on exhales, not to make them longer, but to make them thorough. So just a little more focus on your exhale, where you're just slowing it down and making sure the exhale really exits the body. So you're trying to get rid of the staleness before you inhale again. And just a couple more times like that. Just a little soft focus on the exhale. And then let's have 3 more long, slow breaths where you're breathing in and out to a count of 6 and really feeling the 3-dimensional quality of your breathing. And then slowly you're going to open your eyes, and you're going to continue to breathe like that, of course, as much as possible throughout the whole practice today. And then just let your arms come to the sides of the body so that on your next inhale, you can really open up in the arms all the way up, out, and over the head. And your first attempt at spinal extension. On your next inhale, you're going to press down through the sits bones and really point upward through those finger points. You can separate the fingers, let the hands feel alive as you reach up on that next inhale. And then slowly exhale. Get rid of that staleness as the arms come down. Just place the hands right in front of the heart. Namaste. And then from here, let's all go ahead and recline back. Coming on back down to the floor, all the way with your spine on the floor. And so the best thing to do when you're getting ready to enliven and work a part of the body is to warm it up specifically. So just a few breaths where you inhale and reach and really extend the spine. But on the exhale, you're going to bend the knees and scoop those knees in with your enclosed arms and really firm up in the abdominal area. If it feels okay with the strong core, you can bring the head right between the knees a little bit or in that direction. And then when you inhale, you're going to come back into a full body stretch. And as you exhale, come into that hedgehog pose. If you, like as I said, if it doesn't feel good to raise your head, just focus on the spine from the neck down. Okay. If you can raise the head safely and it feels good, then let's do that. And then one more time. Now you know exactly what to do. Stretch out as much as you can. Feel the space between each and every vertebra as you stretch fully and extend. As you exhale, you're going to come into that deep flexion. Let all that stillness go. And the next time you inhale, you're just going to put the soles of the feet on the floor. Bring the arms to the sides of the body and just let your spine come to the floor and just settle for just a breath. Very good. And then if you will, bring the right knee closer in to the chest, and then you're going to extend that leg, the right leg, straight up and press out through the heel. You can always interlock behind the thigh if it's comfortable, and just start to rotate the ankle. Nice circular motion. Reverse the direction of your circle. And we're going to keep moving now. So you're not worried. You're just going to continue this long, slow breath. And just for this little warm up in the legs, you may not need to follow breath and movement. Just focus on breathing long, slow breaths. And then you're going to bring the toes closer in towards your shins, so the heels point out, and then point your toes. And then point your heel, point your toes, point your heel, just like that. And continue those long, slow breaths. The movement might be quicker than your breath, though, just for this, as I said. So you just bend and extend the knee a few times. Very good. And you want to do that, it takes probably 5 or 6 times. You want to start to feel a warmth in the front of your thigh. And then stretch up one more time and press out through the heel. And this time, as you exhale, just let go if you have been holding on to the thigh, and just cross the right ankle over that left knee. And have a few breaths where you're just pointing the right knee away from the body, feeling that tiny little stretch, and that maybe in that right hip joint. Just a couple breaths like that, where on the inhale, you're focusing on pointing the knee away, and then you let it go. Very good. And then bring your arms right up behind your neck here and interlock your fingers. And just on the next exhale, let the right knee go over to the right. Press into both elbows and just take it as far as is comfortable. And then on the inhale, still with a firm tummy, you're going to bring the knee back up. And just like this, a little motion as you exhale, you're coming over just as far as is comfortable. Just make sure this doesn't happen, where you want to make sure the left shoulder blade and left elbow stays on the floor. And then inhale, come back up again. Just like that. And the next time you've inhaled and come up, you'll want to take the arms away from your neck, and on the exhale, bring the left sole of the foot off the floor, interlock your hands around that left thigh, and have maybe 3 breaths where you exhale and bring the unit of both legs closer in towards the spine or towards the chest, and then you're going to let it come away. So it's a definite movement on the breath now. So you're aligning breath and movement in this phase. And feel any sensations in your right hip, right glutes, right hip joint that happen when you do this movement. Very good. And then the next time you exhale, you're letting go with the hands. Let the left sole of the foot come back to the floor. Uncross and stretch the right leg up again. One last time. As you press the sole of the foot towards the ceiling, you're really trying to get that the back of the leg rather as stretched as you can. And with a little abdominal core work, as you exhale, very slowly, take that straight, strong leg to the floor. Very good. All the way to the floor. And then slide the right heel back. And then let's do the same thing on the other side. Bring the left thigh in towards the chest. And then you're going to stretch it up towards the ceiling so that the left sole of the foot is now facing the ceiling. And then just do little rotations in the ankle. We don't do this very often, and just notice how that feels. And then reverse the direction. Very good. And then the next time, as you cease that movement, you're going to bring those toes towards the shins, and it will accentuate the stretch, probably not only in the thigh, but also in the calf muscle. And then point out through the toes. And just do this long, slow breath. So this time the movement is a little quicker than your breathing. You're just trying to warm up those muscles. And then let's shift to this movement of the knee where you just bend and extend the knee a few times. It's almost like a little pumping action, and you're trying to warm up particularly the top of the thigh or the front of the thigh. Very good. And then the next time you inhale, stretch up again, press out through the heel. And then as you let go around the thigh, you're just going to exhale and bring the left heel or ankle towards the right knee. Bring your hands and interlock right behind your neck. Press out through those elbows so the next time you exhale, left knee's coming closer towards the floor. And then you're just inhaling, coming back up again. And in this movement, you are trying to keep some firmness in the abdominal core through inhales and exhales. You're also trying to keep, remember, that right shoulder blade and right elbow on the floor. And 3 to 5 sort of repetitions is usually enough of that. When you've had that, you can unlace your fingers, and on the exhale, bring the right sole of the foot off the floor so you can reach behind that right thigh. And then on the exhale, you're going to just bring the unit of both knees closer, both legs closer to the chest. And you're going to inhale, let it come away. It's matching the breath now, the movement, and I just want you to notice sensations. So you're aligning breath and movement, really focusing on those sensations that the movement causes. And again, 3 to 5 repetitions will be enough for this warm-up phase. And so as you're ready, you can let go of the thigh, let the right sole of the foot come back to the floor, uncross, and then one last time, just bring that leg up. Press out, again, the heel towards the ceiling, and really feel the toes as much as they can. They're trying to bend back towards the shin a little bit, so you've got the full stretch in the back of the leg. And then you're going to exhale, abdominal core engaged as that left leg come back to the floor. Good. And once it's there, you're going to draw that heel back and place the left and the right sole of the foot on the floor. Bring your elbows really close in now to the body, and the hands, the forearms and hands are pointing straight up to the ceiling. As you press into the elbows, press into the feet as well, really thoroughly. And as you inhale, lift the hips off the floor, and you're coming up just as far as is comfortable. You want to take it to the end point, but don't go beyond the point of comfort. And then as you exhale, you're going to bring the hips back down. And slowly as you inhale, you're bringing the feet off the ground, knees closer in towards the chest, and raising the legs up, all one inhale. As you exhale, you're bending the knees and bringing the feet back to the floor, a little control in the abdominal core.
Once the feet are on the floor, you're going to inhale, press elbows and feet back into the floor, and you're going to raise up in the hips as high as you can. As you exhale, you're going to bring the hips back to the floor. So just breathe with this little vinyasa just a few more times. So you're inhaling, lifting the feet and knees and then the legs all the way up. As you exhale, bending the knees and placing the soles of the foot with control of your abs right on the floor. As you inhale, focusing on pressing into the elbows and the feet as you raise your hips. Just slow the breath down so you can really enjoy and feel each and every movement. You will allow yourself 3 to 5 repetitions of this as well. So let's all, that wherever you are in this process, let's make this the last repetition. So that once you come back with soles of the feet on the floor, you can go ahead and release your arms down. Separate your feet just a little bit. Just have a few repetitions of a nice wide angle the feet and go side to side with your knees on the breath as you're exhaling. Knees go to one side. As you inhale, they come back to center. So the idea is to feel really warmed up in the hips, pelvis, and legs before we even come into the kneeling position. Lovely. And then one last little effort on the floor with our spine. We're going to do that little Kundalini movement. So if you'll bring your knees so they point more or less up to the ceiling, your feet are elevated off the floor. Let's again interlock our hands behind our head. And the movement goes just like this. So you have to lift your head about an inch off the floor and let the head rest in your hands. And the right elbow goes towards the right as well as the right foot. And you're inhaling to center. And you're exhaling over to the other side. So when you have this, it's a very quick movement and you're actually focusing just on the exhales as you do it. And you get the benefits from this if you can keep it up for about a minute. So it does seem like a long time, but we're only going to do it for about a minute. I invite you to keep up with me if you can. It really does send fluid into your spine in a way that very few other movements can do. And so you can start to just come slower in the movement, come to stillness. Very good. Bring your knees up towards your chest. And we're all going to come to hands and knees now. So you can either rock and roll on your spine or just simply come on off to the side. We're all going to end up in the hand and knees position. So get yourself settled in that neutral tabletop for just that moment, and let's come right into cat-cow. As you inhale, raise the heart, raise the tailbone. As you exhale, progressive abdominal contraction helps you round your spine. You press into the inner hands, maybe into the shins and the tops of the feet, just like that. So back and forth between these two movements. And let's all just make our way into cat-cow wheel so that the next time you exhale, you're just the beginning of that progressive abdominal contraction and rounding. And then take the hips back towards your heels. And from here, on the inhale, you're going to traction the floor towards you. Elbows point down and just let the torso roll through your arms into the cow position. just like this. Just do this a few times. The idea is to try to really feel fluid in the movement as much as possible. So just allow yourself to go in, immerse yourself in the breath and the movement. Feel the flow in this little vinyasa. And then slowly on your next inhale, when you've come up to that cow position, let yourself morph back into the neutral tabletop position for a moment. And then gently, if you can, we're going to come into the toes tucked under position. And you're just going to balance your weight on your feet for just a moment. Sometimes this is really helpful to have your bricks for this as well. So if it is and you've got bricks, you can use them just like this. So we're just going to wake up the feet a little bit and get some energy going right into the foundation of our body. And so from here, just see, can you, and you might, again, you might not need the bricks or you might not have them. So in which case your finger points will be on the floor. So all I want you to do is make sure you can feel big toe under the big toe and the little toe. And I want you to start pressing back just a little bit towards the ball of the foot. And as you do that, can you press a little harder to get, or a little firmer, to get the knees to come up more towards the chest? And think of your cat position, rounding the spine, tucking your chin towards the chest, and really pointing your tailbone downward. And then slowly, again, you're rolling out the feet, sort of under the ball of the feet, lowering the knees and reaching up with the heart as you inhale. And again, you're either on the bricks or on your finger points. This is really good for your knees if your knees are in a healthy state. If your knees are uncomfortable, then you need to give this a miss, okay? So just a couple breaths. As you're exhaling, you're rounding the spine like your cat position and drawing the knees higher as you come higher up onto your toes, and chin comes down towards the chest as you point your tailbone towards the floor. And as you inhale, feel the motion happen in your feet as you just try to roll out the feet, the weight more to the balls of the feet, and press into the hands, lift your heart. One last time, as you exhale, knees come a little higher towards the chest as you come up onto the tippy toes into a little bit of a cat arch in your back. And then as you inhale, you're rolling out on your feet as best you can. The heels may never touch the floor. It's fine. They're just going in that direction. And then lengthen up through the sternum. And let's all go ahead and come up now a little bit higher all the way. The next time you inhale, press, press, press into the feet and see, can you come all the way up into a forward bend? Oh my goodness, yes. The legs feel good to be stretched after the folding them that much. If you're on bricks, you might want to set those aside. Go ahead and put your hands down and let's step back into a downward facing dog. And see if you can stretch those calves out as much as you can. Pedal on the spot if that's helpful. Everything you know about downward facing dog now is really important. You want to feel the weight onto the roots of the fingers and the inner hand section of the hand. And bring your hip creases up and back as far as you can. Always okay to bend your knees if you need to. And slowly, slowly, slowly on the inhale, let's go ahead and rock and roll right into a plank pose. Really strong in your core, strong in your arms, and even strong in your thighs. And slowly drop the knees to the floor. And let's go ahead and come right on the torso to the floor as well.
This is going to be so simple, our little back bends, because you really want the spine to be totally warmed up. And let's just go ahead and have our elbows in that little just bent position. So this is such an easy, simple back bend. Make sure the tops of your feet are centered, so they're not rolling off to little toe or big toe side. Right at center is the tops of your feet. You feel a little rootedness through your pubic bone, and as you inhale next, you're just pulling the floor towards you, just having a little movement where you're looking forward and lengthening the spine. And then you're exhaling, coming back down again. Just do this a couple times and just notice the 100% primal quality to this movement. So this is where you want to always start if you're either just warming up or if your back muscles aren't very strong. We can all do this movement. And after a few repetitions of that, let's go ahead and move our fingers right back towards our chest, towards our armpits. Elbows are pointing up towards the ceiling. Everything else stays the same. As you're inhaling, you feel the tops of the feet evenly and balanced on the floor. You feel a little rootedness in your pubic bone. As you inhale, you just sort of gaze forward and then up and rock up into the cobra. As you exhale, come on back down. A couple more breaths like that. And then slowly just take your fingers and put them right out, straight out to the side. So a little bit like spider arms. Your elbows are still pointing up to the ceiling, a little bit at a right angle. Let's do the exact same movement. What I want you to feel though is the finger points really pressing into the floor as you raise up. So what you're actually doing is accessing and strengthening all those muscles in the upper back around the shoulder blades thoroughly in these little back bends. So remember, as you're raising up, you want to press a little more firmly into those finger points and just notice what you can feel around your shoulder blades. Very good. And when you've had enough, like as I said, 3 to 5 repetitions is usually the magic number. Just going to release. I'm going to press into the hands. Come on up to tabletop. One more time. Let's come into a downward facing dog. Just breathe your way through this. From your downward facing dog, you're going to step another step further towards your feet and much wider. So both feet, you're feeling the floor on either side. You're actually not on the mat with your feet. And really, what you're trying to do is lengthen the arms and the spine, and you want to feel the weight going right into your heels, from the hips to the heels, and just feel that. You might need to bring your arms closer together like I have, so my thumbs are actually touching. And then slowly start to lean your weight into that right foot as you bend the knee. So the left leg is stretching out diagonally. And we've done this many times. And of course, you're feeling a groin stretch on the left thigh. What I want you to also feel, though, is an outer ankle stretch. So you really focus on pressing the little toe side of that foot more into the floor. So you'll feel the groin, of course, but you'll also feel, hopefully, the outer ankle on that leg stretch a little bit. And then inhale back to center. And exhale. You're now shifting your weight over that left leg. You have to bend the left knee. Lean into that a little bit so you can stretch diagonally this right leg this time. And then
really focus on rooting into the little toe side of that right foot, and hopefully besides the groin stretch, you will be able to feel a little outer ankle stretch. So there you've got it. And let's just do this a couple times on your own breath. You're leaning, remember, as you lean in, the side you're leaning into is bent, the knee is bent, but you're focusing on pressing the other side, the diagonally stretched leg, pointing that little toe side of the foot a little more towards the floor. When you inhale back to center, let the spine lengthen for just that breath before you go over to the other side. Great. So lovely to really feel that stretch. I hope you've had time to do that. And then let's go ahead and just slowly begin to bend those nice wide feet and legs. So you're bending the knees. Trace those fingers back. Feel strength all the way in your legs, all the way down to the heel. Prop your elbows on your thighs. And from here, let's all come up to standing. So as we've come to standing, let's all come into our mountain pose. Have a little look down and make sure your toes are all pointing forward. And make sure also that the feet are no more than a fist or 2 fists at the most apart from each other. So you're not standing particularly wide, but maybe 2 fists would fit between those feet, okay? And then find your mountain pose. Just take a moment for this. You want to feel the feet as that firm foundation of this pose. And as you press into the feet, feel the strength in your legs. And really notice that it's against that foundation of the feet and the strong legs that you can get your extension in the spine. So really feel that. Roll the shoulders up, back, and down. Any little movement that you need is absolutely fine. And in this, I want you to all stand at the very tops of your mat if you haven't already done that. And just a slightly different vinyasa. Now we're going to inhale the arms straight up. On the inhale, feel the length in the front of the body, but also feel the weight in the heels so the tailbone can point down. And there is lovely spinal extension. As you exhale, you're going to bring the arms out to the side. Lead the way with the heart. Nice bent knees. And you're going to come with finger points to the floor. If you want to use your bricks or need to, place them in the front. On the inhale, you're going to press the thighs back and see if you can you straighten your legs any at all as you raise your heart. Very good. And as you exhale, bend the knees and just send your thighs and chest and tummies just a little bit closer together. Make sure the feet stay anchored so you're not rolling out to the little toe side when you do that. That's very common. See if you can resist that urge and you're still rooted. Even the big toe side is rooted. And then as you inhale, we're going to come up with arms straight again, but this time just up to a chair position. And so knees are a little bit bent, maybe torso's a little bit diagonal, but still long. Feel the weight first in both feet, and then shift the weight over to the right leg. Feel the effort and the balance required just to lift that left foot off the floor. Have a breath or two. Place the left foot back on the floor, come back to chair pose. And then shift the weight over now to the left foot and raise the right knee and foot off the floor. And then lower back. Inhale into Tadasana and exhale the arms straight down to the sides of the body.
Find your extension, find the weight in your heels, and find the length in your spine. And then inhale again when you're ready. As you exhale, leading with the heart, you're coming down fingertips to the floor. As you inhale, you're rising up with the heart. As you exhale, the thighs and tummy try to come closer together. And when you do that, remember you're keeping the weight even in the big toe side of the foot. And this time as you inhale, you're reaching back into your chair pose. Just come up that far. Shifting weight into the left leg, raising the right leg. And then can you step back with that right leg, nice and far back if you can. And bring those toes, the back toes, so that they face a little more forward. So you may need to just fidget yourself around just a little bit. Reach up nice and high on your next inhale. Feel the weight in the ball of the back foot. As you exhale, let's put our hands to our hips. Just have a few breaths where you're exhaling and bending that back knee. When you inhale, you want to straighten the back knee again, but focus on as if you're trying to press the inner heel into an imaginary wall behind you as you straighten it out. And then bend. And then inhale and extend again. Remember to find that inner heel, the pressure against an imaginary wall. Just as a footnote, it's easier if you keep your hands on your hips. If you actually want more challenge, you can keep your hands raised as you bend and extend the back leg. It actually does work your heart a little harder and will pump up your heart rate a little more if you keep your arms raised. It's your choice. You want to get about 8 or 10 repetitions of bending that back knee and trying to straighten it right into the imaginary wall, the foot behind you. And then when you've done that, just inhale, raise the arms one last time. As you exhale, very carefully, you're trying to segue into a lunge, bringing your hands to the floor. Just let yourself morph into the lunge. And if you're able to do this, we'll do a little twist, a little more weight into the right hand. As you inhale, raise that left arm, open the chest out to the left. As you exhale, you're closing the lunge back up again. And then just carefully, you're going to come out of this. You can take a couple steps back into the forward bend. Bend your knees and come back up into Tadasana. Hands to the heart and just have a couple breaths here. And then inhaling, raising the arms again. As you exhale, leading with the heart, swan diving into your forward bend. As you inhale, raise the heart, straighten the legs. And as you exhale, the thighs and the tummy come closer together as you release your head towards the floor. When you come up, you keep that firmness in your tummy and you come back into the chair pose. And slowly let your weight come into the right leg, right foot. As you're ready, little balance here as you lift the left leg. And then just take your time. You're stepping back nice and long with that left leg. And you may have to wiggle around, fidget around just a little bit until you get into that warrior one shape. Remember, it's your choice. Do you want to keep your arms extended? Or is it easier for you to focus on that back leg with hands to the hips? It certainly is for me. But make sure that back, you're in the right position. Make sure the toes of the back foot are facing as forward as they can before you begin. Keeping the front leg exactly as it is. You're just focusing on trying to bend the back knee. And then when you extend it on the inhale, remember to think about the imaginary wall that you're pressing your inner heel into. Just do this a few times. Eight or 10 times is plenty, and when you've done that, come back into your warrior one. Really strong. Feel the ball of the back foot, and as you press there, get a little more length than you will. Feel maybe a little stretch in the very top of that back thigh. And then with an exhale, with control, you're slowly coming down into a lunge. Both hands on the floor, nice and carefully. You might need to wiggle around, morph yourself into the lunge shape. If all feels well, do that little twist, a little more weight into the left hand. As you inhale, raise that right arm up. Make sure that right knee and thigh stays close into the midline. And just enjoy a couple breaths in this twisting lunge. And slowly, on the next exhale, bring that right hand back down. Let's exhale back into a downward facing dog. Have a really nice stretch here. Any little movement you need, and then we're going to walk our way back up into Tadasana as you're ready. Now we're just going to do that entire sequence again, and we're going to add a little warrior two with it. So it's going to go a little faster, and you're going to do just fine. So stay with me if you can. From your mountain pose, feel the length, feel the strength in your feet. As you inhale, raise the arms up over your head. Press into those heels so you really get length all the way from the heels to those wide finger points. And then on an exhale, you're going to dive to the floor. Fingertips touch the floor. As you inhale, straighten the thighs and raise your heart just a little bit. As you exhale, go ahead and let the thighs and the tummy come a little closer together. Release the weight of your head. With a nice little firmness in your abdominal core, you're going to inhale and come on up just to chair pose. Shift your weight onto your left leg, left foot. Feel that stability first as you raise the right thigh. And then step back with that right leg. And stay high with the arms. We're just going to dip the knee one time as you exhale. Dip that back knee. As you inhale, straighten it out and press into that imaginary wall behind you with the inner heel. As you inhale next, get a little bit taller. Even come up onto the ball of that back foot. And then exhale into your warrior two as you open out to the left. You may need to find the position of warrior two and just explore a little bit. As you inhale next, keep the feet as they are, but as you inhale, straighten the legs and raise the arms up over the head. Find extension as you reach up and press into the feet. As you exhale, come on back into warrior two. And when you inhale, you're rising up just by straightening the legs and straightening the arms up over your head. Really feel length in the spine and in your extremities. As you exhale, come on into warrior two again. Just have a breath there. And then one last time as you inhale, straighten legs, straighten arms, and then find the extension in your spine. And as you exhale, back to warrior two. And it's on the next exhale that you're going to try to segue by pivoting on the ball of the back foot and slowly transitioning down to a low lunge as gracefully as you can. And then if all is well, you're going to open up into the twist, raising a little more into the, more weight into the right hand as you raise up with that left arm. Exhaling, hand back to the floor, the left hand, and then nice and easy, you're going to step forward. First into a forward bend, and then right up into Tadasana. And from here, we're just going to go the easy route and just come into a gravity lowered chair pose. Lowering down on the exhale into the chair pose. Very good. And then pressing weight a little more into the right foot. Find your stability. You can raise the left knee and the left foot. And step back into warrior one when you're ready. You can keep the arms raised so that when we exhale, we're just going to dip that back knee one time. Press out through the whole of that foot, focusing a little more on the inner heel side of the left foot. And the next inhale, you're going to raise up with the arms and torso and on the ball of the back foot even more. So you can easily transition into warrior two. You might need to move your feet a little bit, wiggle that around, sink into your warrior two. As you inhale next, all you're going to do is straighten the legs, straighten the arms over your head, and then find a little more extension in the spine. As you exhale, back into your warrior two. And as you inhale, rise up, find your extension, and exhale, warrior two. This is the last one, so as you inhale, feel your legs straighten, feel the feet anchored. As you raise the arms over your head, find that spinal extension. And then you can exhale into your warrior two. And it's on an exhale that you're going to very carefully transition into your lunge. And when you found that lunge, you might be able to come into the twist, a little more weight into the left arm as you inhale, raising the right arm up and over. And then as you exhale next, right hand comes to the floor. Just a little bit of walking with that back leg to meet the front. We're going to end up in a nice bent knee forward bend. And just let go for a moment. You can bend your knees as generously as you need to, just to let the upper body drape over your legs. Two or three breaths, and then raise your heart. Find the weight into your heels so you can safely rise back up into your mountain pose. And just hands to the heart for just a moment. Lower the eyes. And just physically and mentally get yourself into that alignment. Head over heart, heart over pelvis. And then feel that strong, strong foundation in your feet. Those long, slow breaths, you can open the eyes if you haven't already done that. Just lower the hands to the sides of the body. And let's all come to the floor for just a little pranayama before we come into the final relaxation. So all of us just come into a comfortable seated posture for our breathing practice. If you need to come to a chair, remember that's perfectly all right. And today we're going to do triangle breathing. And I just want to point out, we've done triangle breathing before, but basically it's breathing into a count of 4. And that's even arbitrary, but 4 count is something everybody can access without strain. So that's where, and if you want to do it on your own, you can do longer counts if you'd like. But anyway, we're going to start in breathing into a count of 4. We're going to hold to a count of 4 and exhale to a count of 4. With triangle breathing, you can change that around and you can actually inhale to a count of 4, exhale to a count of 4, and then hold the exhale. So the hold can happen after the inhale or the exhale. And I just thought today we would do the hold after the exhale. People find it differently. Some people find it easier to hold the inhale and some people find it easier to hold the exhale. So just experiment and we'll do it this way today and just see how you do with it, okay? So such an easy, simple breath pattern, but it will slow the rate of your breath down and sort of kick in that lovely rest and restore part of your nervous system. Just go ahead and start regulating and equalizing the breath. Make sure you're comfortable. And then we're all going to inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath out. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Last round. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. And then just, you can keep your eyes closed or open them and just breathe normally for just a few breaths. And still with that focus on breathing, let's all come to the floor now. Reclining back on our backs. Before we go to the floor, I want you, if you do have a blanket, if you will hold it up so that it's folded to about 1/3 of its length. And then go ahead and have it ready so you can roll it, or you may have to adjust it a little bit when we're ready for it. But basically, you want this little roll like this. If you don't have a blanket, you can pause the video and get one, or you can just, we'll just do a regular Shavasana if you don't have a blanket, okay? Let's go ahead and come to the floor. Just in the spirit of trying to keep these videos to a particular length, we won't have a really long Shavasana tonight. But when you first come to the floor, let's have a full stretch. And you might want to focus on first the right side, really stretching thoroughly, and then the left.
before you stretch both sides. So just sort of organically come into these lovely little stretches here. And when you've done that, place the soles of the feet to the floor and just bring the right knee in towards the body and stretch the left leg out. And just have your very familiar pose where you're bringing the right knee closer to the chest every time you exhale. And you're feeling the sensations. And you want 3 or 4 breaths before you shift and trade sides. Very good. And then let's come into your version of happy baby. And remember, there's lots of different ways you can go with this. You're putting your forearms right underneath your knees and just creating a lovely little support hammock for your legs just by interlocking your hands. And this is the easiest version of happy baby. You can find your edge just by exhaling and encouraging the knees to go a little closer towards the armpits or downward, just by pulling inward with the forearms. Or you can reach up and clasp around the ankles. Same thing, the focus is the same of every time you exhale. You're bringing the knees a little closer towards the armpits or the floor. And then of course the final version is the stirrup version with clasping around the little toe side of your feet. And so let's be here for just another 3 or 4 breaths as you find the right pose for your body today. And just feel that lovely broadening out in your lumbar spine. You're just trying to find some space there. And after just a few breaths, you can introduce just a little bit of movement and by just rocking or swaying a little bit. Whatever feels good. And then you're just going to gradually come out of the pose after just a few breaths and place the soles of your feet together and come into this Baddha Konasana or bound angle position. And in the position, just have a couple of breaths where you focus on nice abdominal breathing when you inhale. And of course, we exhale, you're just letting it go. And then before you exit that pose, you're just going to roll over onto the left hip and thigh, outer thigh. And from here, you're just going to point the right knee away from the body and just feel that lovely stretch right there in the hip joint and the groin of the right side. And then you're going to release and come over to the other side. Just make sure everything feels okay. You're just moving and assessing, what does your body need right now? And then this is the perfect time to come into the final little stretch or pose that you'd like before you settle into Shavasana. Anything you'd like. If it takes a little exploration, that's okay. Until finally you come into the final pose. And if you have your rolled up blanket, that would be ideal just to start the process of really opening up the front of the body while it's a very passive and lovely stretch. So you just put the rolled up towel all the way from the tailbone directly on the spine to your neck. And if you need any little bolster under your head, feel free to do that. Otherwise, everything is as usual Shavasana except for that little roll under your spine. And then that gives your shoulders and outer parts of your body sort of a place to let gravity do a passive stretch. If you don't have the roll, of course you'll just come into the standard Shavasana. And if you do that, just make sure you try to get those shoulder blades even more underneath your body than usual. And let's just be here for a few breaths and really let the weight of the body surrender, whichever pose you've chosen. Just let the weight of the body surrender to the floor now. And when you feel like you've released as much as you can, then you can just gently turn your focus to your breathing. All you're doing is observing your breath. This is actually an active meditation to observe your breath that way, so it's a lovely place to end up. You're a neutral observer only. You're not trying to change the breath at this stage in any way, so just watch your own breathing. Just a few more breaths. And when you find that your mind has veered off the breathing a little bit, as it probably will, just gently bring it back when you realize you've done that. And if you are going to close out with me today, you're going to slowly come up to a seated posture if you haven't already done that. And just letting the focus come back in just a little more precise as you sit and deepen your breath. And then with hands to the heart, namaste. Thank you.